strategize when working on your stock how many of each thing for your upcoming market? Definitely depends on how much time you have available to you, but I like to start with making 3 of each item and go from there. If I have time to make 5 of each item in each size and each color, then that is a really great place to be. And then of course, if you have more time, just keep making more. I do have the whole strategy of how to come up with your base 10 staple inventory items as far as like how much you sell them for, the colors you're gonna choose, the materials you're gonna choose, and how many of what to make. That is all included in my course that's coming up in 2025. It is the How to Sell Crochet at Craft Shows course, which actually that's not going to be the title, but that's what I'm calling it right now because I don't officially have a title for it. But that is like the whole strategy will be in there. But it just really depends on the amount of time you have and the products that you have as well. How many shows do you have in a year? Okay, so I used to do not way more. I used to do about 30 full days of shows a year. Now I'm about like 15 to 20. But that is because I have been doing bigger shows and selling more at the shows I do go to. And of course, we only have 2 hands. We only have so much time in the day. We can only physically make so many items. And I would personally rather do less shows and make more money that way than doing more shows and not making as much money as I could be making. So that is how I have done it. What is the best way to teach someone to crochet? I am really good at crochet, but I am not a very good teacher. Where would you start? Okay. Great question. I feel the same way. And I took a course from the Craft Yarn Council. You can go to their website and find this course on how to teach crochet. It is a class on how to teach crochet. It was so worth it and I learned so much. We did lesson plans in there. I learned a lot more about stitches and just like, honestly, just general crochet tips and tricks. So definitely check them out. It's the Craft Yarn Council. You can check that out on their website. I think it was like maybe $100 to do. I don't remember now. It was worth it though in the end, like to have that knowledge. It might not even have been that much. I don't remember. I'll have to go back and check. Also, I did it a couple years ago, so I'm not sure if the prices have changed. But anyways, what is a good way to know how much inventory to bring to your first market? I have a formula for this. It's taking your goal of how much you want to make at your show. So say, I'm just gonna throw an example out there. Say you wanna make $300 at your show. Then you're gonna take that goal, times it by 2, which would be 600, and that's how much worth of inventory that you're going to want to bring. Now, if you don't bring that much, it's not like gonna make or break your show. The more you can bring, the better. You give your customers options and you have more available in case you do sell a lot. But if it's your first show, just honestly, I always say make as much as you possibly can. I would like so much rather have leftover inventory than not have enough. Now, if you don't have enough, that's also not an issue. If you sell out, that's actually a good problem to have. So don't be discouraged if you don't have a lot and you go and you sell out. That means people want your stuff, and that's also a good problem to have. But as far as like, if I had to choose between under prepping and over prepping, definitely over prepping, because you can always sell that stuff on Instagram later, on your website. You could clearance it out if it wasn't selling. Or what I do is I just bring it to the next shows and they end up selling eventually. So I hope that is helpful. What is your favorite brand of yarn and how can you afford your yarn stash? Okay, well, first of all of this on this side was gifted to me by my friend Montana. She said she didn't need it anymore, and we're both kind of yarn hoarders, and so she's like, do you want it? And I go, yeah, I want that yarn. And I haven't touched it because it just looks so beautiful there. So anyways, how I can afford my yarn is everything that I've earned in my business, I put back in my business. Of course, I'm making money, I'm making profit, but there is a piece of the money that is getting generated in my business that's going back into my business so that I can continue doing this. And part of that expense is going into yarn, and I like to use, it's not like the highest quality yarn, but it's pretty high quality yarn for what you can get, because my customers like that and they're gravitated towards this yarn, and I also love working with it, so it's win-win. But anyways, what is my favorite brand is what you're asking, and this right here, the Bernat. I love Bernat, and I get it at Joann's. I also like Joann's yarn which is the big twist yarn. Have you sold on Instagram? How does that work? I have sold physical products on Instagram, just like going through Venmo or PayPal. I don't know, like it can be kind of tricky just on Instagram alone. I really do encourage people to have some sort of website or platform you can send your customers, because you're gonna avoid spam or scammers that way. So yeah, it's definitely something to consider, but for the most part, like an Etsy or something like that, a platform, your own website where you can send customers is going to be the best way to go, and not going through Instagram, if that makes sense. Do you ever discount your items you no longer are planning to sell? Yes, Pania, I do that. I will, it depends, like, on the product, because sometimes I put something out for a show and it's just kind of like a fluke that it didn't sell. And then sometimes I put it out for like 5 shows. I'm like, okay, this product just isn't selling for me. And so what I like to do at my shows, especially right before the holidays, these do really well, doing a $10 bin or a $20 bin, whatever you feel comfortable with. People love those bins. They love finding deals, and don't get me wrong, I'm the same way. When I see a discount bin somewhere, I am rifling through it as well. So anyways, that's something that you can do with some products that you're planning on discounting off of your shop. Do you have any other hobbies besides crochet? Funny you ask. I'm trying to like get some other hobbies besides crochet. I love to crochet so much. Like, don't get me wrong, I could do it all day, every day, but I also feel like it's important to have other things that aren't like business related, you know, and I have some other things that I can do like just for fun, which I love crocheting personal projects as well. I really want to get back into sewing actually, and just, I have a quilt that my grandma has like partially made, and she was wondering if I could finish it, and I'm like, oh, I could totally break out my sewing machine and get back into doing that stuff. So I'm definitely going to try to put some time in my schedule to get back into some of those hobbies. And yeah, Peyton and I also, we've been getting into pickleball recently. I mean, we've only played a couple times last couple months, but like we love pickleball. So it's super excited. It sounds like there's a court, like an indoor court kind of being opened by us, and so we're gonna go check it out and maybe do some of that this winter as well. We're not all that great, but it's really fun. How do you know when it's time to retire a low performing product? You get several shows, etc. Yeah, I'll give it a couple shows. And yeah, you never really know if it's just the show that's kind of a dud, or it's your customer's not there, or it's just, you know, it's like a fluke. So I'll give it like 3 or 4 shows. You know, it could be a cue to me, maybe not to retire it, but maybe to do a discount on it, which maybe ending up retiring it depending on what you're making for your time and stuff. So anyways, I hope that's helpful. Kind of just gauge it and see how it's going. But of course, if you brought it to like 10 shows and like nobody even seems interested in it, that's another thing. Are people even interested in this product? Then it may be time to retire it.